Amano site, as I mentioned, I think it is mostly an opportunity to make that brighter future more likely to happen. There's understandably lots of fear and concern about, I think generally about low-income folks getting pushed out. Those fears are real and understandable, but I think we do have an opportunity here to actually create a different narrative and a different outcome where folks, longtime residents of Hazelwood, folks here that are struggling, actually have new opportunities as a result of what's going to happen there. So the foundations heard that, understood, I think, as well, that Pittsburgh's future didn't lay in heavy industry. We had already been through massive upheavals over the course of 10 or 15 years as the steel industry declined, and folks understood that whatever the future was, it wasn't more heavy industry, most likely. So the foundation stepped in to make a bid on the property and ultimately acquired it, and set about figuring out how to redevelop it. It's very possible that in 5 years, when things start going up in Almano and there's this sort of growing optimism that Hazelwood is a place to be, that housing prices are going to start going up in the neighborhood. That's oftentimes seen as gentrification, right? Oh my God, house prices are going up, I'm not going to be able to afford to live here. But there's a weird flip side of that we don't often talk about, and that is that for those of you whose folks own houses, many of them are worth much less than they should be here because housing prices have been depressed for so long. In 2010, which is the last year that we have good data for, the median sales price of a house in Hazelwood was $5,700.
Oh, wow.
Your teaching artist just made a face like, that can't be good. Was that
Yes.
That was a summary of your face, right? That can't be good. He's right, it's not. It could be great if you don't have a house and you want to get one for $5,700, right?
Yeah.
But for folks that have owned them for a long time, it's disastrous. For families that have bought a house thinking that it was going to be an investment, that's disastrous. There's a lot of folks that you care about, that we care about in this neighborhood, that would benefit from not having houses worth $5,700. So again, the notion with Rebuilding Together Pittsburgh is we're going to actually be able to position a substantial number of homeowners who are struggling but still own their home to see that thing worth something when the market starts to change. So instead of having a house that's worth $6,000 or $7,000, it might be worth $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000. That's real equity, right? A second piece of that is that Rebuilding is working with Hazelwood Initiative to buy vacant and tax delinquent properties in Hazelwood, which is a big problem. There's a lot of vacant houses here, you guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big problem with tax delinquency because one of the problems when your house is only worth $5,700 and you don't have a lot of cash on hand, it's hard to pay your taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's an opportunity to buy some of these houses for not very much money, use Rebuilding's ability to very inexpensively repair and reposition these houses for sale, and make them available, especially to longtime renters in the neighborhood who want to be homeowners, and focusing especially on African American individuals and families. It's clear from the data that homeowners in Hazelwood tend to be older and whiter, and renters tend to be younger and browner. There's an opportunity to get folks who have been longtime renters, who are reasonably stable, and ideally African American, to take a shot at home ownership if they want to do that. It's worth noting that a house that somebody buys for, let's say it's $90,000, that monthly mortgage payment is less than what a lot of folks are paying for rent in this neighborhood. Now there's other costs that got to be considered. You got to squirrel some money away to make repairs and pay the taxes and all that kind of stuff. But there's a real opportunity there if people buy a house for $80,000 or $90,000 and the market continues to improve, that folks are actually going to have some equity in that house and have some sort of net worth to build off of.